G'day guys, here we are in video number 5 or 6 or I can't remember what one it is. Like I said, we're going to get started on the draw in this one. So the draw consists of a false front. So we're going to be putting a front on the draw. It has the draw front and back with the joinery on it and the groove for the base, the draw sides, and the draw base. Right, so we've got 4 different components. Okay. So to get started on that, I think we'll probably save the false front until last. It's probably easiest to get started with the actual front, back, and sides of the draw. So again, pretty easy. If you followed all the tutorials so far, there should be no problems at all for you. So to do that, we'll get started drawing it somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. We need to put a piece in that's 240 long and 12 millimeters thick. So let's see, 12,240. There we go. And we're going to push it up by it's 70 millimeters. So up by 70. Okay. Now these two pieces are going to. This is going to be an identical for the front and back, and the sides will be the same. So we can just draw one of them and duplicate it for the for the other side. So we'll triple click on that, right click, make it a component, and call this draw front and back. We'll double click on it and we'll start getting the measurements in. So we can see this is a box pin or a finger joint, whatever you want to call it, and we've got a few different dimensions. You can see we come 22 millimeters in from each edge, and it's 12 millimeters. I guess you could say wide, because the side piece that joins onto that is 12 millimeters thick. Okay, so to get started, it's probably easiest to draw a line 12 millimeters in from the corner, and then maybe we'll go all the way down with the pencil line, like that. Okay, and then we can go with the tape measure and measure in from the top, 22 millimeters down, from the bottom, 22 millimeters up. Grab the pencil tool and draw that to there and to there. Okay, and you can see in this piece we are removing the shoulders. Okay, so that piece there, like the top shoulder and the bottom shoulder, we're going to be removing them. So we're just left with the little part in the middle. Okay, so it looks like that. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Because we've already drawn this one in, it might be pretty easy if we just use the measuring tape to draw those straight across. So that's 228, 228 with the measuring tape, and then we can measure back 12 millimeters and back 12 millimeters, and then we could just draw in a couple of rectangles, right? A little bit quicker than drawing and then measuring everything out again. Okay, so push that in, and that's the joinery done. We've just got to put the groove in. So we can see again the groove will be cut on the table saw, which has a 3 millimeter blade. So the groove is 3 millimeters. It's 6 millimeters deep, so it goes in half the thickness of the material, and it's 5 millimeters up from the bottom. So let's go over here, and we go 5 millimeters up from the bottom. We go 6 millimeters deep, and the groove is 3 millimeters wide. So we can now put a rectangle in from here to there and push that all the way across. All right, so that is that piece finished. All right, easy peasy. I'll leave it for now while we put the next piece in, which will be the side. And that piece is 90 millimeters by 12. So let's go 90, 12, push it up by 70. Now it doesn't matter if these don't line up yet. When we use the move tool later, we'll get them to line up perfectly. Okay, so let's triple click, right click, make component, and call this draw sides, enter. Perfect. Now let's double click on it so we can start editing it. Now, same thing. These are going to be 12 millimeters wide, and we've got the exact same measurements, 22, 22, which leaves a 26 in the middle. So let's go in from the sides, 12 millimeters, 12 millimeters, draw lines straight down, which will be 70 and 70. We need to come down from here, 22 millimeters. Some might be able to just grab the rectangle tool and draw in a rectangle that's 26,12, and that'll put in the piece automatically that we need. All right, so I can use the tape measure to transfer that line across. I'll hold down Shift, click on that guide point, and do the exact same thing over here. 26,12. I can just push these two straight through. Okay, pretty easy. Now, the groove is going to be exact same. 3 millimeters from the bottom. 5 millimeters from the bottom. 6 millimeters deep, and 3 millimeter groove. Grab a rectangle and put it in there, and push it all the way through. Okay, so that's those two pieces completely done. Now, super easy to get these together. All we need to do is grab the move tool and grab a reference point and line it up with another reference point, like that. And if we look around here now, we can see that joint fits together perfectly. All right, now to duplicate it for the other two sides, all we need to do is press Control, click on that with the move tool, move it somewhere off to the side, grab one of these nodes, flip it around 180 degrees, or what is it, 0 degrees. Okay, there we go. Grab the move tool and again, just line it up with the reference point. So we'll just make sure that joint's okay. Yep, perfect. And then same thing with the long one. Grab it. Oops, sorry, I forgot to hit Control. Control to make a copy. And then we will flip it around 180 degrees, like that. And then move it onto there. Okay, so that is the draw, or the side pieces of the draw done. We now just need to put the put the base in, which should be easy enough. Let's see what's going to be the best way to do that. I reckon it might be easiest if we move this end piece up. Let's say we just move it up 100 millimeters, so it's out of the way. Then we can draw a rectangle. Where's the rectangle tool? Over here. From there to there. We can push it all the way to that back wall, like we need it to go on the edge of that, but it also needs to go 6 millimeters in. So we can see the distance we're at the moment is 216, so we need to push it 6 millimeters past that, which will be 222. So type in 222, enter. So that's going in there now. Now we can grab this and just bring it this way, 6 millimeters, okay? And then we can move this piece back down 100 millimeters on the blue axis, and everything is back together. We've got the base in there, and that's that part of the draw done. Okay, now we'll quickly just paint all of these. So light timber for the front, back, and sides, and then usually the ply base will be a different timber, so we'll just paint that a bit darker. Okay, and we can see at the bottom, oh, sorry, we haven't made that a component yet, so we've got to triple click it, draw base, there we go, and then paint it, and it should paint the whole thing. Cool. Okay, let's edit, delete our guides, and all we need to do now is put the false front on the draw. Okay, so the false front is 280 millimeters wide, long, 100 millimeters wide and 19 millimeters thick. I reckon if we measure this sort of gap over here, I reckon from the top of the shelf down to the bottom is 100 millimeters, and I reckon from edge to edge is 280. It's 279. But yeah, a piece of 280 will cover that up. Okay, so let's see. We got to move this draw into the, well, actually, we could probably put the draw front on it now while it's out here, and then move the whole thing into where it's going to sit. So to do that, let's see. The draw front needs to be 280 millimeters long. So let's find the midpoint. So we measure from the corner to the mid, which is 120. So I'll type in 120. And then we're going to go out this way, half of 280, which is 140. That's where the corner will be. So I can go from here. I need to be on the green axis or the red axis like that. So I hit the right arrow for the red right axis for the red arrow, and I'm going to type in 280, 100, enter, and then I'm going to push this 9-10 millimeters. Okay, so that is our draw front, perfectly centered. So that, oops, hang on, I'm going to get a better view of that. There we go. Yep, so the draw is centered on the front, and the bottom of the draw lines up at the front. Because this isn't really a traditional draw, we're not going to be putting runners or anything on it. It's just going to sort of loosely sit in there. So we don't need to account for runners or anything like that. It's just going to sit on top of the base and slide in and out. So what we need to do is make this draw front a component. So we triple click, right click, make component. We'll call it false front. Now we can see it's got a decorative edge on it. So all we need to do is double click on it, and we need to do just like we did with the top and base. We need to put in some, I don't know, we'll look at this from a better angle. Sometimes it's a bit tricky with the orbit tool to look at it like you want. There we go. Okay, so we'll pretend that we're using the exact same route a bit. So we're going to go 8 millimeters in from this corner, grab the arc tool, and we're going to go from here to there, straight to a quarter circle. We're going to grab the tape measure again, go straight up 8 millimeters, and we're going to grab the arc and go from there to another quarter circle. That gives us that nice little slope. And then with the pencil tool, will it tell us if it's 45 degrees? No, it won't. We need to draw that in. So we got the tape measure up. I think it should be 3 millimeters. And then from here, 3 millimeters, the pencil line from there to there, and it gives that last little chamfer. Okay, so now we need to look at it so we can see the whole draw front. We get the follow me tool, click on this face, and we're going to follow that all the way around. And we need to make sure we go straight back to the original corner. Okay, there we go. So as you can see this time it didn't leave the shape on the end, but last time it did. I'm not sure why it does that sometimes and it doesn't others. Anyway, not important. Okay, so that's the draw front done. And we'll go to the paint bucket and we'll paint it simple like that. Okay, so let's go edit, delete guides. Now to move this in position, we want to move them all at the same time. So what we should do is we should highlight all of this, right click, and select make group. Okay, so these are all grouped together. So if I grab the move tool now, they're all going to move together. So because when we make it in the workshop, we're going to be gluing all that together and screwing and nailing and whatever. So in SketchUp, we want to do the same thing. We want to make it a group. So when we move it, it all moves together. All right. So all we're going to need to do to put this in position is we need to have a little point we can line it up with. So we need to go 9.5 from there, little corner point, and we're going to grab this component right on the outside edge and move it to that point there. Boom. And that's a draw in position. Okay, so that's a draw in position, and that bit's done. Okay, so next video, I think we're going to be doing, what else have we got to do? We've got to do the columns and the finials and then the crown profiles on the top, and then we just need to decorate it. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. It's looking good so far. Okay, so in the next video, we'll go over the so make sure you save your work, file, save, and I'll see you in the next video.